Hey, ladies, it's been a little while. Not too long, I guess a couple of weeks since I updated and wanted to get back with you and just give you an update of my journey in babyland as I'm calling it. Okay, so today is Tuesday, January 15th, 2019. I don't think I've recorded a video in 2019. So happy New Year. And well, it's not MLK Day, but today is officially his birthday. So, kind of happy, kind of MLK Day. And I am, as of today, 13 weeks, 3 days pregnant. Um, so I've am officially out of the first trimester. And that's great. I mean, it's crazy because it's like, okay, I'm in the second trimester. There's only one trimester to go after that. So, the impending baby definitely makes me nervous, but I'm happy to be out of the first trimester because that was some nonsense. And the morning sickness is for the birds, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that I'm completely over it because, to be honest, I'm still getting nauseous bouts of nausea. And last Friday was probably one of the worst days I had with the nausea and the vomiting. And that was just this past Friday. So, but then I was still technically in the 12th week. So I don't know. I mean, my doctor told me it takes roughly 14, 15 weeks usually for the hormones to level out and the morning sickness to subside. And then most women start to feel better around that time. So possibly another couple of weeks for me, but it's gotten a little bit better. I have the last 2 days, yesterday and today, I've been extremely hungry or hungrier. Like I've had an increased appetite. So that's great because I hadn't really felt that way during most of the first trimester, and I don't think I ate much most days. I had a few days where I feel good about what I ate, but most days it was saltines and crackers or something very carb heavy. So so yesterday was actually a really big day for me in Babyland. I received the results of my MAT21 test and they were normal. So that's great. And that's the one that tests for Down syndrome and other chromosomal abnormalities that can lead to other various syndromes similar or like Down syndrome. Um, and then yesterday, I happened to have my nucleal ultrasound. So think I said that right. So I had that yesterday and was able to see the baby again. So that was great. The only thing is that it's kind of weird, because I'm not really showing much, if at all. I feel bigger than I think I look. Like I feel like, oh my gosh, sometimes, especially when I'm feeling nauseous, I feel like, I know there's something in there. But it doesn't, it's not apparent. And sometimes I'm a little self-conscious because I feel like, especially at work, can people tell? And I don't, from the few coworkers I have that know, it's not apparent. So speaking of work, I have not disclosed it yet. I have disclosed it kind of and not really. So HR knows. I told them when I hit 12 weeks, I alerted the HR department. And but they're supposed to keep it confidential. So I have three close coworkers, and they all know who I consider each one of them a friend, and they all know. So I think that's it. Everyone, I mean, unless someone else knows, and the only way they would know is if they were told by either HR or one of my friend coworkers. So hopefully, no one else knows. But my supervisor or boss, so to speak, they don't, they don't know. So, um, and I think I'm going to try to push it off as long as possible until I'm showing and I can't hide it anymore. Today I actually have on a pretty form-fitting dress, and I did feel self-conscious about putting it on, but at the same time, I'm like, whatever. I'm definitely, I mean, this is something that this dress in particular, I know that once I start showing, there will be no way to get back into this dress. So I figured I'd wear it while I can, and I didn't feel like I was getting awkward stares or anything, even though I felt a little like, can anyone tell? But I think it's more me and in my head. So back to the ultrasound. So yesterday I had the ultrasound. It was interesting, and because I got to see I've seen the baby move before. I saw that at my 9 week ultrasound. But at this one I got to see like the fingers. It wasn't really detailed because this isn't a detailed anatomy ultrasound, which doesn't happen until about 20 weeks, I was told. But I was able to see the baby's fingers, and kind of like he or she had them kind of balled up, like, in a little fist. Um, and you could actually see the digits, which was kind of weird. Um, Sorry about the minor interruption. So as I was saying, in the ultrasound, you could see the baby making a fist. I was able to see the heart, the brain, the uh, arms, legs, the feet, just general. No real true detail. The good news is that the ultrasound showed the test as normal. So with the nuclear ultrasound, my understanding is that they measure the nasal bone here, and then the depth of the skin in the back of the baby's neck. And I think if it's a certain thickness, then that is a sign of a certain type of chromosomal abnormality in one of those type of syndromes, such as Downs or one of the others. Um, but again, everything with that came back positive. And just to show you very quickly, I got a whole slew of new baby pictures. This first one is actually one where the baby is facing, it looks a little creepy. It's a little hard to tell, but you know, and the second one's a profile shot. The third one, again, you can see the little fist. I don't know if you can see it, the little fist in the corner. And again, it's the baby looking at the well, baby can't see any of it. Baby's eyes aren't even open, but this would be as if the baby was facing the camera or facing, yeah, I guess the screen. And then the other ones are just profile photos of the baby on the side. It's all kind of weird because I'm always like, wow, this child is actually inside of me, which is, still something I'm getting used to and adjusting to the thought of, because the whole thing is just kind of, I don't know, weird to me. It's just, I know this is what happens, but it's just like, it's in there, moving around and stretching his arms and legs and making fists, and has apparently at I think at 13 weeks has fingernails, or is starting to grow fingernails and vocal cords, and and it can suck its thumb at this point. So I didn't see it sucking its thumb on camera, but it can suck its thumb. I did see it, wiggling, but I saw that before at 9 weeks. Always very amazing and strange, oddly enough, strange, for lack of a better way to describe it. So we are not, and I am adamant about this, I do not want to know the gender. I might be in the minority of people that feel this way. No gender reveals for me. I'd like to know once the baby is born. I'm not interested in knowing whether it's a boy or girl right now. But this is the hardest thing in the world for people, because everyone does a gender reveal, or so many people do gender reveals, that it's hard to get people at the doctor's office not to tell me the gender of the baby. So the MAT21 test, in addition to the testing for the chromosomal abnormalities, because they're testing the chromosomes, they could tell whether the baby's a boy or girl. So when they called me and I received the test results yesterday on the phone, when they called me about it, first thing I said when I realized it was a nurse calling with the results and I knew that this test also determined the gender was, please don't tell me the gender, because I did not want her to accidentally slip up and be like, oh, and by the way, you're having a girl or you're having a boy. So I just said, please don't tell me the gender. When I'm getting this nuclear ultrasound done, I say to the woman, she says, oh, do you know your gender? No, I do not want to know the gender. I don't know. I do not want to know. Please do not tell me. And she's, well, how are you going to do a gender reveal? And I said, or how are you going to get or do a baby shower? I said, I don't feel I need to know the gender for a baby shower. You know, you can buy yellow and mint green or white, or you can buy pink and blue. I mean, girls can wear, blue and boys can wear pink. I don't want like a princess, dress or anything like that. But if you're, for the most part, just getting some onesies, newborns don't need a whole lot of clothes. So a bunch of generic onesies or a few cute outfits, but I'm okay with not knowing the gender, and I'd like it to be a surprise. So in the ultrasound, I tell the woman this. Again, towards the end of the ultrasound, she says to me, oh, by the way, you know the gender, right? And I said, no, I don't want to know the gender. We had just went over that at the beginning of the ultrasound. I had an in-depth conversation about it. But she even mentioned to me that it was odd because most of the older mothers like myself, don't forget I'm 35, usually want to know the gender. It's the younger ones that usually do not want to know the gender. So, I don't know. Me being of advanced maternal age, I didn't want to know the gender, and she just couldn't understand that. And she mentioned that she likes to be the first person to tell the parents the gender. And I said, okay, that's great, but not in this case. I do not want to know the gender, maybe on your next patient. Now yesterday I had 2 appointments. I also had my second appointment with my OB. And, I didn't know that every time you went to the OB, they didn't do an ultrasound. I thought they did an ultrasound every appointment. So that's news for me. And I don't know, maybe you knew this already. I didn't know. I thought that they were going to do 2 ultrasounds because I had 2 separate appointments at the same place, but 2 separate appointments. So I thought I had the nuclear ultrasound for the whole chromosomal thing. And I thought I'd have, I don't know, another ultrasound with my OB. So I find out that she was basically just doing a lot of chatting. I don't know. I guess it's good to go to talk about your symptoms or what's going on, but I was kind of like, what is the purpose of this appointment if you're not looking at the baby every time? But, I had an ultrasound that day. I got a whole slew of pictures. So it's like, what do I really need another ultrasound for? I didn't. I just thought that's what she did. To which she explained no. So for that, she went over some of the blood test results from my prior appointment, and they did a whole slew of blood tests then. And she again told me my MAT21 results were normal. And then on the screen, she has the gender. Now, I didn't see it. I honestly didn't see it. But she said to me, oh, you know the gender. It's on the screen. Thank God I was not looking at the screen. I mean, I was looking, but I wasn't looking. Like, I wasn't really focused on it. And I said, no, don't want to know. And she's like, oh, don't look at the screen. But my husband was at the appointment. He was looking at the screen also. And I can't tell whether he knows or not. Once he realized that, and she said, oh, then don't look at the screen, he kind of made a face and turned away, and then was kind of like, oh, wow. And then I'm like, do you know? And then he keeps saying he doesn't know, but then he says he doesn't know. And even if he didn't know, he wouldn't tell me that he knew. So I don't know whether he knows or not. I mean, now I have to go the next 6 months pretty much trying to figure out whether he knows. And he's saying, well, I don't know, but even if I didn't know, I wouldn't tell you that I do know. So don't worry about it, because you still don't know. And it's just, I don't understand why it's so hard for people to just not tell you the gender. Like, I know most people want to know the gender. I'm not interested. I'm okay with waiting. I'm going to do this the old fashioned way, at least in that respect. I didn't do anything else the old fashioned way. Baby was, put together through science and technology. So, at the very least, I can do is in it. I didn't do, any of the the testing to know the gender of the embryos that were transferred. So I'd like to just wait until she or he is born and know the gender. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because I really do believe that at one of these appointments they're going to tell me before I can stop them, because I feel like I have to constantly stop them from telling me the gender. Even during the ultrasound, the tech, she kept saying, first she started, she was like, I'm going to say he or the baby. Then she says, I'm going to say she or the baby. So at least she did both. So I still don't know. But she started off with, okay, I'm just going to say he, but that doesn't mean it's a he. I'm just going to say he or the baby. And then she later changed it to she or the baby. So I really don't know um, what this child is. It's one or the other. I do know that. And I'm looking forward to the surprise. Yeah, not knowing the gender takes away a little bit of something, because, I can't buy something pink or something blue, or daddy's little princess shirt, but or something like that, mommy's big boy or whatever, something that says something like that. But I like the mystery of it, and I think it'll be a nice little surprise. We already have names, and so I am not. It's not that I'm like, oh, I need to focus on a name. I know it'll be one of two names, so it is what it is, and I'm not sharing the names yet, but sometime soon, and well, or maybe when the baby's born. Um, but yeah, so that was just my doctor and babyland experience. Another thing was that my blood pressure was actually higher yesterday. Um, so when they first took it, when I came into my second appointment, it was 140 over 80, which is actually quite high for pregnancy, because when you're pregnant, the hormones, whatever hormone, I don't know, but with everything that's going on, it actually lowers your blood pressure. So for mine to have been 140 over 80 was still quite high. But then they took it about 15, 20 minutes later, and it was 132 over 80, which was, my doctor was happier with, but she still thought it was still too high, because I'm always on this like borderline. Last time I was there was 130 over 80. This time it was 132 over 80. The second time they took it, right? So she's making me have a consultation with a high risk consultant, because she is concerned that if it could, I don't know what we can do to change it or prevent it at this point, but she said she's just a little concerned that it could turn into preeclampsia later in the third trimester. So I know she wants to avoid that. And she said if I am having blood pressure issues throughout the entire pregnancy and in the third trimester, then she would deliver at 39 weeks instead of whenever it happens naturally, I guess, because it's better to have the baby out by 39 weeks than to continue to have the baby in. And she said the lungs are developed enough by that point, and it's safer than to have me go into preeclampsia, which has something to do with the kidneys and all that good stuff that I don't think I want to know about right now, to be honest with you. I haven't scheduled the appointment with the high risk consultant, but I will be doing that soon. And so she made me do some extra blood work yesterday, and that blood work was to see if something was in my blood in regards to what's going on with my blood pressure, and to make sure my kidneys and things are functioning. She wanted a baseline, so if later when they test, they know, whether things aren't what where they should be. So also, in addition to meeting with the high risk consultant, I'm also supposed to be doing a 24-hour urine collection. And so I'm going to do that this Saturday, where for the entire 24 hours, I collect all my urine in this bucket thing that they gave me, a big bucket thing. I don't have it with me right now. Wish I could show it to you. But I don't have it with me. It just looks like I don't know, a jug of some sort. And what's weird is that they gave it to me in a biohazard bag. It's a bag that said big red letters on it, biohazard, which I thought was great because that's what you want to get on the subway with, is a bag with a jug that says biohazard. I said, a good thing is it might keep people away from you, but I just thought it was interesting, especially when I have to bring it back and there's a bag with a jug that in the bag says biohazard with a jug of pee in it. But anyway, so for 24 hours I need to collect my urine, and they will also test that to see if there are any proteins or something in it to see if my kidneys are functioning normally. I will say I'm having a hard time staying hydrated. I really am. I can't get enough to drink. I don't drink enough water. I'm trying, but it's just, I'm trying, but I'm not doing a good enough job. And that's probably something, given this situation, that I probably needs to be even more focused on, is chugging the water all day. But then you're going to the bathroom all day, and with the baby, you run into the bathroom even more. But still, so that's what's going on with the baby. Last thing, I've been working out quite a bit, actually. I've been 5 days a week. Before pregnancy, I was working out 7 days a week. So then I started, I was having a hard time keep doing it consistently. But then I got up to 5 days a week, especially with the morning sickness and feeling bad. It was really hard to be consistent. But now, this week, because the first week, though, and the week's not over, I'm going to try to do 6 days this week and see if I can continue on 6 days. My doctor told me I have no workout restrictions and I can work out. If I was working out 7 days a week before pregnancy, she said I can continue to work out 7 days a week at the same intensity level. No, when morning sickness hit, all that kind of went out the window. It was hard to stay in that routine. It was hard to stay at the same intensity. I'm hoping to try to get back to the same intensity level, but I really feel good about staying active, because it helps with the weight. The weight, whether that helps with gestational diabetes. I don't have that, thank God, and I hope I don't have that throughout the pregnancy. But working out helps if you have those type of issues, and it's also supposed to help with your blood pressure. But we'll see. It ain't doing much yet. And so when my first OB appointment, which was at 9 weeks, it was already 9 weeks, they took my weight then, and I weighed myself at home. And my scale, I have a digital scale. It's different. Digital scales are different than the scales that your doctors use with the whole slidey thing. I hate those slidey scales. And I was fully dressed when they weighed me at the doctor's office. And I'm going to tell you, at home, I weigh myself. I don't have anything on, okay? Nothing. Anything that could come off comes off, okay? Including hair. Anything that can come off comes off. We don't weigh ourselves with anything extra, no jewelry, no nothing. And so I get my pure, accurate weights. But again, digital scales are somewhat different. And I'd weighed myself probably a couple of days before my first OB appointment, and I was 5 pounds lighter than what I ended up being at my OB appointment. So I was quite disappointed when, in a matter of a few days, I was like, oh my God, did I gain 5 pounds in a few days? So given the disappointment, and I hadn't weighed myself since. I got weighed there, and I hadn't weighed myself since. Given that disappointment was coming up, I decided to weigh myself just because I wanted to know. My weight was exactly the same as it was when I weighed myself before my first OB appointment. And so I said, okay, well, I guess we'll see what the weight comes to at the second OB appointment. So interestingly enough, although it was still 5 pounds higher than the weight I got at home, it was the same weight that they had me at my first OB appointment. So consistently, both scales are giving the same weight, even though they're giving the same weight each time, but they're not matching each other's weight. I don't know if that makes sense. So my home scale has me 5 pounds less than the doctor's scale. And I think my home scale is probably more accurate. One, because I want it to be more accurate, it's 5 pounds less. But two, my doctor, they weigh me completely clothed. Like I take my shoes off, but other than that, they weigh me completely clothed. And I had to tell her, I started taking stuff off and saying, this ain't fair. I feel like you need to subtract at least a couple of pounds for clothes. But, clothes can be heavy, especially in the wintertime. But anyway, so my weight hadn't changed, so I hadn't gained anything from my first appointment, which was only 4 weeks ago. Um, so I don't know how that evens out with my I can't even say pre-pregnancy, because remember I was doing the stimulation shots, and sometimes those make you gain weight. So, and my doctor's office with the stimulation shots didn't weigh me the first day. They weighed me about a couple of days into the shots. I don't know how quickly you gain weight on those, but so anyway, so I have an idea, but the problem again was digital scales versus the old fashioned, slide the thing across scales. So yeah, so I think worst case scenario, I gained 5 pounds over the course of everything thus far. Best case scenario, I didn't gain anything. So that's where we are, but it's okay. I mean, I was trying not to gain a lot of weight for the first trimester. I do know, and as think I'm starting to experience the second trimester, is where your appetite increases. And as the nausea subsides, you're usually able to eat more and you focus more on food. And so, this may be the trimester where I gain more weight, even though I think you gain the most in the third. I don't know. So I didn't really gain any in the first, from I don't know. I don't know. I try not to get on scales. That's the problem. I try not to get on scales. So it's like from first starting, I really don't have an accurate weight from first starting my stimulations, or when I first found out I was pregnant. I didn't get on a scale because you couldn't make me get on a scale at that time. And so I didn't get on a scale. So I don't know what my weight was when I first found out I was pregnant. I didn't really get my first weigh in until 9 weeks, 5 days, which was at the OB appointment. During pregnancy. So anyway, but that's it. It's a lot to know. A lot of things, like now I'm thinking about stretch marks. I don't have any yet. I'm not showing. I mean, I don't have any from the pregnancy. Let me put it that way. And, I'm like, well, what's the best stuff to use for stretch marks? Does anyone know what's the best thing to use? Is it like Palmer's cocoa butter, or should we be using coconut oil, or what's the best thing? And then, I know people do this perineum massage at some point, and I'm like, should I be doing that? Should I not be doing that? What do people think about doulas? Anyone going to get a doula? Should I get a doula? I don't know. Do I need a doula? My doctor said that she recommends a doula if you're going to have a natural childbirth without medication. But I feel like I might want some medication. So me, I have time to think about it. She said the doulas are good for natural childbirth because you can labor longer at home, and they can help you with the breathing techniques and manage your pain during the beginning of labor before you go to the hospital. But I think they do more than that. I mean, that was her perspective on doulas. But I mean, if I'm going to get medication, then I don't need a doula. I don't know whether I'm going to get medication. She said an epidural does not harm the baby. So, why have added pain if I don't need to? So I don't know. I don't know where I am on that, but I feel like I'm leaning towards probably getting an epidural. Then I also talked to my doctor about the placenta and whether I could take it home. I know some hospitals don't allow you to. She told me I can. I'm not saying I want to. I just wanted to know my options. I mean, I don't really want to fry it up with onions and eat it like it's liver, but I do know people do fry it up and eat it like liver and onions, cook it up and put it in smoothies, bake it, do all types of weird things with it, or shouldn't say weird, interesting and creative things with it. Although I have read, and my doctor also stated, there is no evidence that eating or ingesting the placenta in any way has any medicinal value. She said people might eat it for iron, because you lose a lot of blood during pregnancy. But she said, you could just take iron pills. Um, she also told me a story of a woman whose baby recently passed away from pneumonia, and they couldn't figure out why the baby had pneumonia, but they were thinking the baby could have gotten pneumonia because the mother was taking the mother had the placenta made into the pills. And she's, you send it off to a company. There's a company you can send it off, and they'll grind up your placenta or something, and then send it back to you in pill format. I mean, there's a lot of issues with that, right? Because one, how do you know what's in the pill? How do you know it's your placenta? How do you know it's placenta? But how do you know it's your placenta, even if it is placenta? Um, and then also, I mean, you'll never know, right? But then also, she was speaking to the bacterial load, because she was saying, the placenta goes to your vagina, so there is a amount of bacteria that it, comes in contact with, and that the bacterial load in the pills you're not aware of. And they were thinking that maybe from the mother, and this is unfortunate because I'm sure she was, if you had your placenta turned into pills, you are someone who probably feels that you are doing the absolute best you can for your baby. And the thought was that the baby may have, I mean, it wasn't confirmed, but that the baby may have gotten pneumonia from the mother's breast milk. And the mother was taking the placenta pills. And so maybe the bacteria, and that was what the baby was getting in the breast milk. So that kind of, I mean, again, she's something she said that was the only thing they could think, because it was a healthy baby. They couldn't figure out where the baby got the pneumonia from, and ultimately the baby passed. But that in itself, that story kind of made me think, I can pump the brakes on the placenta piece. I guess you could bury it. And that sounds cute. I've heard of some cultures that bury it and plant a tree and a placenta tree. I kind of think that's cute. I don't know. But even with that said, I just leave it where it's at. I mean, I don't know. I still have some time to think about it, but she did tell me if I wanted it, I could have it. I know some hospitals won't allow you to take it, but in New York City, I'm sure some of these uppity Upper East Side mothers are just like, I want my placenta to have it turned into pills, or so I can eat it, or because the guru said so. I know they weren't going to be taking no for an answer. So hospital, this, at least this hospital in New York City, is up with giving back the placenta if you feel you need it. But I mean, I've seen what they look like since I've been looking into it, and if you give it to me, I have no idea what I would do with it. Assuming, and she also mentioned that you can only have it if it's not diseased or something like that. Like, as long as it's not the baby's healthy and you didn't have an infection, or everything was normal. Like, if there's a problem, they keep the placenta, and so, and they may examine it, or do some stuff like that. So, but yeah, she also told me a story about how right after the birth, the nurse had left the room, and the person tried to cut into the placenta immediately thereafter and eat it, and it was just like raw placenta, but I guess it's as fresh as it's ever going to be. So the mother was just like, might as well get these benefits now. I don't know. I really don't have an opinion on it. I could go either way. And I'm not judging anyone for whatever they want to do. But, it's highly likely I'm going to leave mine at the doctor's office, but at the hospital. But, who knows? I still have a few months to think about it. So, just lots of questions, about how things, my body will change. Things with pregnancy. I've never been pregnant, as you guys know, and what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. Like I said, stretch marks and stuff like that is what I'm concerned with right now. Should I be doing some perineum massage? I know you need to get up on your Kegels. I try to keep up with that. Um, get some Benoit balls or whatever to help strengthen those muscles. I'm doing lots of squats and lunges and stuff to keep my lower body pretty strong, because I hear that's important for pushing during labor. My hair has been extremely dry. Don't know what that's about. My skin has been a lot drier, but it's also winter, so I could chalk it up to winter. But it's been drier this year than I recall it being in past years. So I don't know if that's pregnancy or not. In my case, I know some women get luxurious hair during pregnancy. My hair in every other place except my head is growing like weeds. Underarms, bikini area, all of that grows constantly like crazy. Legs, but but the hair on my head is like dry and you know annoying right now. So I think that's really all my symptoms, other than everything I've told you every other time. But definitely share your thoughts on what you think I should be doing to help out with any of the stuff that I mentioned in this video. And I will keep you updated as I move along in this whole babyland journey. I know I had said so many times in the very beginning, especially since they transferred two embryos, that I was sad that it wasn't twins. But right now, I mean, twins would have been a blessing, so I'm not knocking it. But I mean, one baby's a blessing, so I'm not knocking that. But I'm kind of happy that this is just one right now, because I keep, with the way I feel, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I could have handled two. So we'll see. And I don't know if I'll do this again. We'll see. But I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you for, watching and staying with me, and let me know your thoughts.